be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
Yeah, boom to the hay, all you sports fans out there in the atmosphere, to you, the individual, as part of this collective, to the OMSR Gen 5.0, brief but very concise host, Will, the alternative ESPN Sports Room. This is the intro show, Think-a-ling-a-jing, the show that never refers to the audience as knuckleheads. Alright, some snapshot / preview of the highlights coming up. NBA Finals, the historical nature of it. But I'm doing this particular episode, given that the first two games went to overtime, that's the first. A lot of historical firsts happening lately. So how are they going to do without Kevin Love? The lighting's kind of sucky on that segment. Sorry about that. White balance with indoor low lighting. Tricky stuff. The deal with Steph Curry and his daughter. Kids at the workplace. Press conference wise. What they'll be talking about. Clint Eastwood's doppelganger from Gran Torino. You know, if you never saw him, he doesn't like any kids at all. Doesn't even like teenagers. Forget about little kids. And then Colin's going to get into how do you judge a series from the first two games as a litmus test? It doesn't work out very much. All right, so we've got Dwayne Darnett, Ultimate Sportsman, the OMSR mascot, and a few Pi Kappa Alpha style house cheerleaders. You review Alpha Tau, give me your props. Alright, so let's egress to the main feature, Gen 5.0. The Will in a Box. Down here in the corner, low profile, low drag, high speed. Chime in every once in a while between their sound bites. That way you're guaranteed. Not a whole lot of chit chat coming from me. Just a little bit of relevancy going on. You get more highlights that way, and I get to technically do more show without having to talk anymore because this is all beautifully fused together. Alright. Till we get to the segue for the quickie sport rant of the segment, the SIS.
We're going to do this again.
Everybody on the court produced, made plays. The guys in here before me ate. You wanted to say that? It was special because guys that have been around the block and can come back and still celebrate what they accomplished 40 years ago. And so we're going to hopefully get that done tonight or next series and be that.
Hopefully he learns.
I was able to give something last game. Trying to get back out there and get a win in game 4. We didn't have.
We've all
Clay
seen
comes
kids
out
on the press conference environment.
Getting hit in the head. He's bleeding from the ear, like you said, and
it's a bit much.
And he's able to impact the game.
I mean, you take your daughter second times. How do you feel like?
I think she's taking advantage of the moment for sure. She's way too comfortable.
My favorite moment from these NBA playoffs hasn't been spectacular dunk or J.R. Smith's three-point extravaganza or even Steph Curry making ridiculous shots look as easy as that college football player that we had here yesterday doing backflips catching footballs. My favorite figure of these playoffs is still working on the fundamentals like ABCs.
She yawns, interrupts press conferences, hides under tables, makes fun of the media. While you all thought I was talking about Sarah, it's actually Riley, the unquestioned.
I can hear them laughing in the control room about that.
Unquestioned Curry star who has made press conferences fun and must-see TV. But on the other side of cute are reporters who have a job to do and a deadline to
Riley
meet.
Curry going to the podium with her dad, Steph. It's taking America by storm.
That's her favorite.
It's taking America by storm.
Was that just her leading written for it, or does she really feel that way?
Well, talk about dribbling.
Not
Just
her.
dribbling.
The
Start
gal
dribbling
before
on
that.
herself as a 2-year-old.
She's great.
Look, I'm not going to stand on the table and say that kids should be banned from post-game press conferences. That to me would be completely extreme. But what that conversation, that debate, if you want to call it that, did expose is, well, how little people think about the professional environment that's actually taking place. It is, I don't want to sound like the ogre, but it is a little bit of a distraction if you are in the working media on deadline. I've been that reporter, having to file a story in 20 minutes, but let's be honest, nobody wants to hear the sports media complain about their jobs.
I am going to stand on the table
Oh.
and say that it is ludicrous. It has always been ludicrous. It should have been the first time it ever happened. Someone should have stepped in. Every governing body in sports should say, no, no kids. It's just that simple. It's a working environment. Now, this young girl is cute and sweet and wonderful, and maybe if they were all as adorable as Wiley Curry, we might be having a different discussion, but they're not. They're not, I'm telling you. So, no, it's a bad thing.
Well, and to me, if there's a list of 1,000 things that bother me about the job that you need to do when it's time to do it, this is really not very high up there. But at the same time, it is a professional working environment. You have a job to do. They have a job to do in terms of speaking to us for the 5 minutes of their lives that seem to be so incredibly painful. But to me, I think that one of the things that does get out of hand with it is the fact that you're trying to get, you have a limited amount of time anyway, and now you have an even shorter amount of time. If the access issues were settled and we were able to talk to guys the way we used to talk to them, then I don't think this would be a big deal. But the window is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So,
and they're coming out later and later.
Exactly.
And
that's all.
So, you know, but I mean, I know you come off, I come off sound like a curmudgeon, but it is a working environment. And what is the point? What are these guys trying to prove anyway? Just, I mean, what exactly is the message? Oh, I'm a good parent. Oh, stop it. You know, oh, I'm sorry. There's just no rational reason why a child should be involved in any of this.
Branding.
And by the way, shouldn't they be home in bed? But that's another reason.
Wow. Tell them to get off your lawn, too, right?
And get off that.
Bring your daughter to work day once a year in every sport event.
Gran Torino starring Bob Ryan.
The grumpy
Yeah, all right,
people
who's that? There is the SRSOA Sport Rant segue. So we got Dwayne down there on the other end. And he's saying sort of the catchphrase that, or not catchphrase, but the phrase that encapsulates this particular sport rant. Dwayne's sort of like, in my mind, the embodiment of those we've all known. Those are always the negative Nate, you know, the Dylan Downer, buzzkill. Even when things are going well, there's that one person in your life involved who's there, seeing it go down that way. Yeah, it went really well, but you might want it to, right? Or the sports fan, when everything's going right for their team, and their team's winning, yeah, but I still wish that, it's always like that. And some of us may have known, had a friend like that, where finally one day you just turn around and look at him and go, look, Dwayne, can't do this anymore with you. You're a total buzzkill. All right, for my part, I will just say, yeah, she's cute and all, but most kids are. It's nice to see that there's a little juxtaposition there that's interesting. I just happened to catch this. The gal, I forgot her name, Janine, I believe. She points it out really well, because both sets of that particular, you know, sector of our economy, if you could call it that, for lack of a better phrase, are experiencing life in a way that the rest of us, forget about ethnicity, the only thing about ethnic differences between us should be celebrated if you're going to single stuff out. Just everybody, people in general, forget about their particular ethnicity. In this case, I would be talking about African Americans, but just that applies to everybody, regardless of ethnicity. They are enjoying a slice of life based on their affluence that is accorded and afforded to them by the sport. Reporters as well, though. Those covering all this on ESPN, their compensation package is pretty good, as opposed to the local beat reporter writing up columns for the local paper in, say, Topeka, Kansas. So she's got a level head with regard to this issue, and they all did, pretty much. It would be nice to see some of these players realize that. You are lucky to be in your position, Seth Curry. If not for your dad being Dell, because Davidson's gone to plenty of tournaments and played spoiler in years past, getting high exposure, but no one got really drafted. Zerbiak did from Miami of Ohio, but not for the tournament. Or you know, it could have easily gone the other direction. Dad, he played basketball somewhere. Point being, You got to realize that the reporters, they're doing their job seriously, even though they're in this upper echelon of being able to experience life. I'm suggesting the 2%, you know, the rest of the population. Your kid doing that is not professional. It really should have been something said if someone was doing that constantly. You know when you would do it? When the series is over, or the final game to each series, if it's still in the middle of things and the final outcome hasn't been determined. And also, it just takes a lot of largesse to do that. Would the guy who has only the year contract with the team go out and do that for fear of what the organization might think? Who does this guy think he is, making us look like that, taking his kid out there? Oh, but it's okay for the stars. They already have enough of a privileged life. Treat the other things, when you got to serious up once in a while, with the seriousness it deserves. That's all I would say about it. All right, thanks for watching. 45 degree, get that right. No silly DUIs while you're out there celebrating the NBA Finals. Bulk of the highlights coming up. But I remind you, as you're celebrating the finals, sports and alcohol, they are joined at the hip. Go.
We're ready for the moment.
I don't think there's ever been a guy in our league to be able to shoot the ball as well as he does.
How do you slow him down?
The same way you slow me down. Well, you can't.
James for the win. It's good. LeBron James at the buzzer.
You feel like you guys are underdog? Huh? Underdog? Well, right. Me?
And for the second time in franchise history, the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to the NBA Finals.
You know, he had to win his first one at some point, 4 wins away from the championship. This is what every player, you know, dreams about.
The Golden State Warriors are in the NBA Finals for the first time in 40 years.
We still have to wait 4 more days for the NBA Finals, but really that's chump change for this particular matchup. The Warriors' last Finals appearance, 1975, before the NBA-ABA merger. But no sympathy from Clevelanders. The entire city has been waiting longer for a championship in any sport, over 50 years. The Cavs and LeBron just might deliver thanks to a mid-season trade. Here's Dave McMenamin.
Iman Shumpert still vividly remembers the conversation he and J.R. Smith had on the plane ride from Memphis to Cleveland after they found out they'd been traded from the Knicks to the Cavaliers back in January. They spoke about how much they had watched the Cavs up to that point, both for scouting and entertainment purposes, and what they could possibly add to LeBron James and company. Now, just a couple of days removed from the start of the NBA Finals, they've become vital cogs in the Cavs operation, while also benefiting from what LeBron brings to the table.
He simplifies things, and he'll do a lot of the thinking for you, but you'll naturally get to the right spot when you see the level of aggression that he uses to get to spots on the floor. Same thing with Kyrie. The way they get to certain spots on the floor, you know where to be to give them the outlet, and it just simplifies the game.
Whoever they try to check with, they better bring that hat in the tool bag, because he's a load. And I mean, best of luck to him, and I hope he do double so I get over shot.
Smith and Shumpert have helped fill the void left by Kevin Love, out after shoulder surgery. But has he played his last game for the Cavaliers? Wasn't exactly flourishing throughout the regular season, and he will be a free agent this summer. But Love today says he has some love for Cleveland.
Is there any question you'll be back here next year in your mind?
No, I truly haven't even thought about it, but as I mentioned, I expect to be suiting up by game 1 of next year.
Cavs?
Yes, sir. Obviously, I'd rather be out there playing, and that is, as a human being, from a human being aspect, is very tough. But as far as being here and supporting the guys and now being able to travel, it's a lot of fun, and I thought I still feel like I'm a big part of this. Anybody that has, pending free agency coming up in the summer, I feel like that's going to happen no matter who it is. So I try to not pay attention to it. Earlier in the season, I went ahead and just, kind of took out my Twitter, forgot, looking at any social media kind of stuff. I've kind of been put on the back burner for me.
So what really matters to Kevin Love? The Cavs' winning percentage this year doubled that of Love's 6 years with the Minnesota Timberwolves. And Love, of course, got his first taste of the playoffs in Cleveland. But playing with LeBron means sacrificing some numbers. Love's 16.4 points per game, the lowest in the last 5 years.
So, 2 rules with the NBA. 2 rules. Number 1, and we've discussed this before, don't fall in love with regular season winning streaks. The playoffs is a different sport. The playoffs are much more intense. There's much better coaching. Stars actually concentrate on both ends of the floor for 45 minutes. People fall in love with the Atlanta Hawks and all these. Slow down. Slow down. The NBA, even the guys that love this league and know it, you know, the Rick Bucher, later Bill Simmons, the guys that love it and know it, they fall for that. Oh, a team's hot in January. The playoffs are different. Some teams are just built for the regular season. Those Phoenix Suns teams with Steve Nash, Atlanta Hawks teams got nice depth. They pass the ball. Playoffs are about stars. That's the first thing. Don't fall in love with regular season winning streaks. They don't equal much. The second thing is, do not judge an NBA Finals after 2 games. You are going to see and expect major coaching adjustments. The series will now change radically. Think I'm wrong? Remember last year? Ooh, Spurs, Heat, split the first 2 games. We got a 7-gamer. Spurs blew out the Heat in the next 3 games. I mean, games weren't even competitive. 20, 30-point games. First 2 games looked nothing like the last 3. Remember 2012? Oklahoma City, Westbrook and Durant beat LeBron. Oh. 1-0 series lead. Never won another game. Remember that Miami-Dallas series, the one LeBron kind of gagged in and truly did? Remember the first, do you remember what happened in the first 3 games of that series? Miami won 2, 1 shot away from being up 3-0. Remember that series? Miami won the first game and the third game. The second game was 95-93. By game 4, Dallas owned the series and beat LeBron. Remember 2006? Miami got beat by Dallas, kind of drubbed back-to-back games. Miami's done. Wrong. Won the next 4. Remember Allen Iverson goes to L.A., beats the Lakers in game 1? Sixers didn't win another game. Okay. You think Matt Dellavedova is going to hold Steph Curry down for the next 5 games? I'm going to go with not. Golden State still deeper, more athletic, better head coach, gets the last 2 at home. And anybody else noticing that Blatt has a very tight 7-man rotation? Kerr's got a 10-man rotation. Advantage Warriors. By the way, the winner last night was not just Cleveland, it was you and I. Because I think we all believed after Kyrie Irving went down, it stunk. Because at this point now, it's June, folks. I'm just waiting for the football season to start. I just want a good next 2 weeks of NBA basketball. And I just root for, my wife asked me, who do you think will win the series? And I said, I don't care. I love Steve Kerr. I love Curry, and I love LeBron. I don't really care. I just give me 6, 7 games. I need something to talk about for 2 weeks. I can't have a sweep. I'm stuck talking baseball. So, in the end, the winner in this whole thing last night wasn't Cleveland. It was you. We had a real series. But, I mean, let's not kid ourselves here. Last night, at one point, LeBron was on the floor with Matthew Dellavedova, James Jones, Tristan Thompson, and Iman Shumpert. Can that team win an NBA final? I do not think so. Even LeBron admitted after the game, we don't have much to work with here.
All we can do is go out and play hard. We're undermanned. I mean, we're without 2 All-Stars. I don't know any other team in this league that will be able to do that.
And I love Matt Dellavedova too. I do. He's spunky. He's gritty. And that was awesome. But do you really think he's going to do that to Steph Curry for 5 more games? Here's what Curry said.
I doubt this will happen again. The adjustments I'll make once I look at the film, and 1 game's not going to make me stop shooting or alter my confidence at all.
So, the herd brought to you by Ford. Go further so you can. Let's go. Let's not go crazy. The winner last night was Cleveland and you and I. Because we're going to get now a good 10 days, good 12 days, good 14 days of good NBA talk before we take some vacations and get ready for football. We'll have a little NBA Finals for about 14, 15 days. We'll have free agency for about 2 weeks. But in review, don't go crazy with regular season winning streaks in the NBA, and don't judge a final by the first 2 games. They often radically change from beginning to end. And I expect Game 3 to be very interesting. What do you bet Steph Curry runs through multiple screens and drops 36 points? Okay? If we get a bad NBA Finals, we're stuck with movies like Entourage for the next month. Okay.